Good evening, everyone. My name is Diana Jelica, and I'm one of the programmers of BHFF. Welcome. We are going to have a Q&A with the director of this film. As always, BHFF is very proud to support women directors. Director of The Chaotic Life of Nada Kadic is Marta Hernaiz Pidal, who was born in Mexico City in 1988. She completed a degree in film studies and works as a cinematographer and producer. She studied filmmaking with noted Hungarian director Bela Tar in Sarajevo. The Chaotic Life of Nada Kadic is her first feature film. It premiered at the Berlin Film Festival. With that, please join me in welcoming Marta to the stage. Thank you. Welcome to BHFF. So I wanted to start off by I mentioned in my introduction that you studied filmmaking with Bela Tar in Sarajevo, so we assume that this is what brought you to this film and this topic in particular. But tell us a little bit about how this particular topic came about, how the story was developed. As I watch it, it seems to me more as a docudrama than necessarily a feature narrative film. So tell us a little bit about the development.
Yeah, sure. Yes, I arrived to Sarajevo because I was studying there, and when I finished my school, I wanted to do something about my time in Sarajevo, like the closure of that time in my life that was very important for me. So I said, what a best way to finish my school and Sarajevo with my first feature film. So the idea came way back because Aida is the Nada, that is the main actress. She's the first person I actually met in Sarajevo, and she was
by chance, or you were in the
She was working in the school, so she was the one giving me the help me with the visa. Like, she was actually doing the work, like in that office where she's there is her actually office. So she was so exotic for me, like the way she dressed and her hair, and so clumsy in a way. So it reminded me of her. Myself, I identify with her, and I said she will be a perfect character for my movie one day. And when I noticed that she had a daughter, I was like, wow, she's my age and she has a daughter and she has this completely different life as me. It would be very interesting to do a film. We became friends, and I told her I wanted to do a film with her, and I was writing the script. And one day she called me and she told me that if I still want to do this film, I said, of course, I want to do it. And she said, you want to do it with my daughter? And I said, yes, sure. Why? And I got scared because she told me, like, no, I can act, but my daughter can't, because I just confirmed that she has autism spectrum, so she will not be able to act. Let's hire a kid that is an actor. And I thought about it, and I was like, I thought this movie with her and her daughter, and the movie doesn't exist, so why not to incorporate this new situation to the film? So we adapt my original idea, that it was a road trip with a mother and a child, with the situation of the autism. So it's a fiction because the script was written, the complete script was written, but they are mother and daughter in the real life, and half of the story is really happened to them.
When I first watched the film, I have to admit I didn't know that they were mother and daughter, and I was absolutely amazed at their interaction, but also at the understanding, regardless of whether they knew each other beforehand, that there must have been a lot of improvisation involved, because the young child at that age, any child is very unpredictable, right? So tell us about that. I mean, you had a script, but was there a lot of improvisation involved in the scenes? And also, how did you get Hava to not look at the camera?
Well, I learned with this movie that directing is not only telling the actors what to do, but really getting to know them. So what I basically did is I got to know Hava. I knew how she react. I knew how she was going to do the things. So I basically wrote the script for her. So, for example, I went for a dinner with Aida, and she told me she had a horrible day because in the supermarket, Hava was playing with the beans. So I said, okay, let's put that. So I built the story based on them and based on people I like from Bosnia, like the old couple in Montenegro. I met them before, so I make a scene for them. So I try to involve all the people that were represented for me in Bosnia, and that's how I built the script.
And the not looking at the camera part, did she just get used to the camera being around?
She was just the best actress. Like, she knew how I wanted the things, and she was like all the time reacting to what's needed. And also she made the other actors play better the part, because instead of thinking, oh, I have to act, I have to say my part, they were careful about Hava. So she was in a way my assistant director, and she was building everything. She actually sees in the camera at the beginning, but she looks at the top, so that's the magic of editing. I put the bird flying, so like if she's looking for the bird and not the camera. So I also make those tricks.
Those are good tricks to know for film students in the room, yes. The cinematography in the film is just incredible. Can you tell us more about that, who you worked with? And, you know, just the colors and the landscapes are amazing.
Thank you. Yes, the cinematographer is Jorge Volado, who also made the music and the producer. So we basically did the film together, the two of us. I couldn't work without him. And once again, like, I think also when you're making a film, it's very important to see how and why you are doing it. So in the school, I had the opportunity to use a very big camera, a red one. But one night I was having dinner in my house with Aida and Hava. And Aida told me, I was in the living room with Hava, and Aida was in the kitchen cooking. And she asked me something. I went to the kitchen, and in that moment, only for 2 seconds, Hava threw the TV off. She's so strong. She's so I decided, no, it cannot be use a big camera in that. I have to use small cameras. So I used 2 DSLR, and Jorge, that is one cinematographer, but he was operating with 2 cameras. So one with the tripod and the other one like making all these shaky things and close-ups. So it was very interesting to see one cinematographer with 2 cameras. And I also, because the colors, I really like her hair, so I really want the red to be present. And I noticed that all the films that were made in my school and the films in Sarajevo and nowadays are the fashion is to have like unsaturated colors. And I said, no, I don't want to do that. I will do very saturated colors. So that's, yeah.
And since we're on the technical side of things, I understand that the sound recorder is here tonight. Did you want to introduce him?
Yes, he is here. Daniel is here.
Stand up. Hi, welcome.
So
welcome.
If he wants to come. And also Eugenio, he helped me with the music research.
Welcome.
Yeah.
Lovely to have you. Maybe during when I open it to the audience, if they want to make some comments, we can give them the mic.
Yeah,
they can
because
comment.
He had to hear all the crying.
Oh, yeah.
Miguel, Daniel. Yeah.
we'll get back to you, but I wanted to talk specifically. So you said you envisioned it as a road trip first and foremost, and then I mean in this docudrama tradition, it really evolved, informed by the actual lives of the individuals you were representing. But the road trip part was, you know, incredibly moving as well, because they encountered this the kindness of strangers along the way in ways they were moving. Was that also organic, or how did you develop those parts?
Everything was planned. My first film, my short film, I work with the Gorica people, the Romani, also called the Gypsies. So they were very kind with me. They give me coffee, and you know the stereotype of the Gypsy people is that they will rob, no? So I invite them to the film, and instead of robbing her, like I wanted to put them as they treat me, like very good and very kind. So they actually help her, and I believe that's life in a way. Like, of course, a lot of bad things happen to us, but most of the time people help. So nada in English, in Spanish, my language is nothing. It means nothing, but in Bosnian, I believe it means hope. So I wanted to play with this word game and mix nothing with hope.
That's really beautiful, and that's a wonderful segue to my next question. I find it in my general study in film and global cinema around the world and transnational movement of filmmakers and themes, that sometimes it takes an outsider from a specific culture to actually have the clearest vision of something that perhaps to the people who are living in the particular culture is too close to their eyes to see. And sometimes someone who comes from somewhere else sees something more clearly and illuminates it in a really wonderful way. And this is what I find with your film. Tell us, the film played at the Sarajevo Film Festival. Tell us a little bit about the local reception.
Yeah, it was very nice. I think people react very well. Of course, you only get to know what the people that like it says, right? You never know what people that doesn't like it said.
Sometimes they raise their voices.
Sometimes. But one lady came to me and she said she was kind of old, and she told me that it was she hadn't saw a so moving film about Bosnia on that time, and that it described very well the Bosnia situation. So I felt very happy that she looked it that way, since I'm an outsider, and that's very difficult, like how to talk about something you don't belong, no, in not a superficial way.
Of course, a lot of responsibility comes with that. What language did you direct in?
Yeah, that was very difficult. In the Java language, we direct the film. Everything was no. Unfortunately, I didn't get to learn Bosnia properly. Now I understand a lot of it, but I don't speak it. But Aida was very good in English, and she also knows Spanish because the soap operas. But I learned that when you direct, sometimes words are not necessary. Like, you think director tells everything what to say, but here the language barrier was broken, so you learn to direct with the sight, with the, like, in another level. It was very beautiful. Yeah. And
then the reveal towards the end, when they finally arrive to meet the grandparents, and we realize that they're visiting graves, and we see the date, it's 1993. That ties us directly to the war years. Tell us a little bit about that. Was that, were you trying to deliberately evoke the wound that is still alive in the society, and how that came about?
Yeah, actually that was mainly the first idea before I knew that Hava had autism. I wanted to do a film about this chaotic person that hasn't told her parents that has a daughter, that is go to this trip to tell the parents that she has a daughter, and you find out she's completely alone because they die in the war. this subject about the war was very difficult for me because I didn't live it, and I think people in Bosnia are very tired of the same subject. So but the same happens to me in Mexico, like how you talk about the difficult subjects, like in Mexico, for example, the drug dealing, without being a cliche or without repeating yourself. So, and since Bosnia war was 20 years ago or more now, I said how I could put it. So I tried to put it in the way people feel it today. So there's only 3 times that the word is mentioned. One is when the tourist guide is talking about the war, because now Bosnia has a lot of war tourism. The other one is like the memories, that actually this story that the coloring book happened to Aida in the real life. And the other one is a part of the loss, no? Like when you still feel that when someone loses someone, that's still present. So I just wanted to talk about the war in the present way, like how people see it today.
And I can attest to that. It's very much an experience of many people still living in Bosnia, or people who have come to this country and other places, that, yes, it's in the past, but in so many ways we're still coping with the aftermath and the consequences in the present.
Yeah, and you cannot forget them, no? It's, of course, they tell us how we are today, so it's past, but it's present still.
And for those we have lost, the void is always there. Nothing really fills it. The sound recorder may correct me, but I think that the last, when we hear the words uttered by Hava, she says, "Mama." Yes.
Yes.
Was that a deliberate choice as well, or did it occur unexpectedly, and was it planned or unplanned?
It was both. It was very difficult to choose the end, but for me, like when you are a mother and you have a kid, doesn't matter if she has autism or other thing, it's a kid, and you get excited about the same things you will get with a kid that doesn't have autism. So for me, it was very important when she's in the fish factory and she says fish, she's saying it for real in that moment, and the mother got really, really excited. But that couldn't be my ending. So when I shoot the end, I have these shots without a voice, and then Hava start talking when we were recording voices, like just the voice, and she said, "Mimi mama, Mimi mama." She didn't say it in that moment, but she said it. So I just edited and put it there because I felt it was going to be very strong to finish like that.
I absolutely agree. With that, we'll open it to the audience, and maybe we can get the mics to our visiting or attendant crew members as well. If they want to make comments, say anything about your experience working on the film.
Maybe Daniel wants
Don't
to
be
add
shy.
something.
Well, yeah, about this final part, I remember I had to be like, how can I say it, like hunting all these sounds that Haba was doing all the time, because part of the film of the sounds you heard weren't happening on that time. So everything, I had to be around Hava the whole time and telling everyone to shut up and to be quiet, because she may say something really important. And when I started the film, I talked a lot to Marta and to Jorge. I've been working with them since college. I started with them also, so it was really important that we had like this really good connection and conversation all the time. And at the beginning of the film, Jorge and Marta told me, you have to seek for this and you have to look for this, and that's all I needed to know. So those were like my instructions, and I kept that on mind, and that's how we made the whole film. And I know that there are a lot of atmospheres and soundscapes and sounds that I think Marta just took and put on the whole film. Yeah, so she just organized the whole thing.
Well, you did an amazing job. Congratulations. Any other questions or comments from the audience?
So, what's striking to me about this film is that if you see like the write-up of, like, you see the script for this, it's like a super expensive film. Like, you see it and there's like road trip and there's sheep and there's like all of these car scenes and there's like a kid. There's all of these things that happen that if you see it in paper, you're like, you're gonna spend so much money doing this. And yet, like, it's just so amazing. Like, I think it's a movie that you can't really make unless it's like only 3 people like you were. Because there's like, it's so subtle in so many ways. And like, so I guess my question is, what was that part of it? Like, were you waiting for a big check for it, or were you just like, just gonna, like, what was your thinking behind that?
Yeah, well, no, I just did it with what I have. That was nothing really. Like, we only bought the Yugo that was really cheap. I think that was the most expensive thing. And I think I'm really grateful with people from Bosnia and Montenegro, because they really open their hearts, their effort, and they just help me, you know, without charging me money. Like, everyone acted for free. The crew was for free. We were very small crew. I think we were 6, because 2 different reasons. Like, my time in Sarajevo was ending, and I had my boyfriend waiting for me back home, and he said, "No, you cannot stay more," you know, like, and also, if I wait for the money, it could be a year, you know. And this thing that happened to Hava and her mother, that they just realized that she had autism, it was just a stage in their life that if I wait, that will be a different movie. Because imagine 1 year after, they were so used to it, and in this moment, they were just finding out about the situation. So I believe that, you know, I have to go for it and use what I have and build something with what. So all the style, all the things that got in the production, I did it thinking of what I got. And I think that's very helpful, because it brings things maybe you don't imagine. Like, with the big camera, Hava wouldn't act the same, or with a lot of people there, Hava maybe would look at the camera or look at the other people. So it had to be very intimate and very, it was right for it. I didn't need the money. I mean, of course, when having more money would be better, because I only shoot for 13 days in 2 countries, that is Bosnia and Montenegro. And it was very intense with very few people, so it was very chaotic, you know. They say that name is destiny, so my next film will be Peace and Harmony, because the chaos was there. But I mean, I think it brings the style of the film, so it was good.
First of all, congratulations. I think it's a beautiful film. And something that I noticed is throughout all the film, I was very tense. Like, there was this tension of like, oh my God, Hava's gonna fall, or she's gonna break this, or she's gonna make a mess in the supermarket, or they're gonna be stuck in the middle of the road at night. So there's always this tension, but at the same time, there's always all these moments of sweetness of a mother to a child. So I think the mixture of those very different things together makes like a perfect formula, in a way that it's kind of subtle. Did you plan that throughout all the script, or when you made it, like, that's kind of like the vibe that it got into the end, or were you planning like, I want it very chaotic and I want it very sweet at the same time, or was it that just something that just came up like as you were going?
Yes, in a way, I wanted to play with this chaos with nothing, you know, like nothing. Like, yesterday in the opening, they were saying that in Bosnia they don't want to talk about the problems, you know, because that brings problems or something like this. And I think in a way, I treated my film like that. I didn't want to show the problems, like the sadness of the war, or the really chaos, or like the cathartic moments of this mother. But I wanted to show how by everyday life this is hard, and this is so tense, and this is so difficult, but at the same time so beautiful, because it's life, and she has to deal with that every day of her life, like not only in the conflict moments. And I think that was the biggest challenge, because I think it's easier to put the drama, and I kind of avoid the drama in a way. I don't know if for good or for bad, but I believe that this like continuity of watching the everyday life, as hard as it is, was why it feels like that.
Okay, thank you.
Any other final questions? Oh, yes, a couple. One here and one there.
Marta, congratulations. It's a great film. Just two quick questions. Have you shown the film in Mexico or any other part in Latin America? And about your next project, can you give us a little glimpse of what you would like to do next?
Yeah, the film was premiered at Morelia Film Festival, and it also was in Cartagena Film Festival in Colombia. That was the Latin American premiere. It was in Argentina also, and I don't remember where else, but it has been traveling in Latin America. And my next project, that's a good question, because as you said, like when you are an outsider, you have a fresh eye and you see things differently. But my next project, I wanted to be in Mexico. That is my country. So I've been dealing a lot with that, because you see the cliches, how the problems in the real way. And so for me now it's better to do a film in Bosnia than in Mexico, but I have to take the challenge. So I'm just to start writing it, and let's see how it goes. Yeah.
Also another question I forgot. Why did you decide to study in Sarajevo?
Yeah, I decided to study in Sarajevo because Belatar, a Hungarian director that is very well known, opened a very interesting school there, where filmmakers from all over the world came to give us classes. Gus Van Sant, Apichapong, Juliette Binoche, Jonathan Rosenbaum, like a lot of figures of the cinema world, very important ones, came and give us classes there.
And there's one more question here, and we'll make that our final question.
Hi, thank you. Actually, two quick questions. One is just, how did Montenegro get into the film? And then the other one is, did you see changes in Hava as she maybe got to know the crew over the course of the film?
Okay. The first one is because, I put a lot of elements of ex-Yugoslavia, like the Yugo, the Red Star, like all the elements about the past of Bosnia and Yugoslavia in general. So I wanted to be the road trip to another part of the ex-Yugoslavia. I didn't know which one to put, but then as many people in Bosnia or in Yugoslavia, they have families not only in the country they live, but in other places. And Bielopolje, her mother from Aida is from there. So she invited me there to the some holidays. So I went there, I met everyone, and I felt it's a beautiful place. So I just choose the hometown of the real hometown of the actress, which fortunately has her two parents alive. That's completely fiction. Yeah.
That's good to hear. And the second question was if you saw any changes in Hava.
Well, I think her changes were more depending on her mood. Like sometimes she got annoyed, and if she was annoyed, she cried more. But basically, she's the same all the time. Like it's like everyone, like depending on the mood. I think she was comfortable with the crew all the time. I don't know if Daniel saw something different. she was all the time the same. Yeah.
She seemed comfortable. I was really amazed. She's an amazing little actress, I must say. Okay, so this rounds out our discussion. Thank you, Marta, and let's give her another round of applause. Congratulations on your wonderful film, and we really look forward to seeing what you do next, Bosnia-related or not. Hope to see you the next couple of days still at the festival. Thank you all for coming.
Hvala puno.